Hello folks, welcome to Tyranny, a brand new game that just came out. I'm recording this the day that it was released, although this will not of course be coming up that day. It'll be coming up a few days later, but nevertheless, yeah, it just came out. This game is by Obsidian, developed by Obsidian, published by Paradox, and that in of itself might tell you a great deal. If you know either of those companies, that probably tells you a great deal. As always, of course, I am Falcon, your host. Now, this game is an RPG, top-down RPG, similar to, say, Paths of Eternity, or Pillars of Eternity. I don't know why the hell I always call it Paths of Eternity. Pillars of Eternity. Very similar. Not exactly the same, but very, very close. But, unlike pretty much every other game that I've ever seen, especially RPGs, style games, we are not the good guys. No. We are the bad guys. Oh yes, most definitely, we are not the good guys. We are not the people... When you call the, we're not the people you call when you need something done. Okay, we are the people that you call when, we want to kill an entire village. We're not the people that you call to deal with the goblins in the countryside, okay? We're the people who come in, we kill the goblins, and then we burn the village to the ground for consorting with goblins. Okay? We're just not good guys. Let's just leave it at that. Now, I already went through the character creation thing, so I had an idea what the hell I was doing, so I'm going to kind of blow through it fairly quickly, because otherwise this will take forever. But I will try to explain some stuff as I go. This game has a very long loading screen, though, so I'm going to cut out that. So I will see you in-game, or rather, I'll see you in the cutscene. We will be going with... Normally I go with the hardest difficulty, but if this is anything like Pillars of Eternity, I probably don't want the hardest difficulty. I probably want... I probably don't want Pillars of the Damned. I probably want to go with hard. That said, this game has both an Expert mode and Iron Man mode for those who want to make the game super ass difficult. So you can go select that, and you can turn both of these on. And there's also a game options thing here on the difficulty where you can turn on actual death, so your people will actually die if they take too many wounds. So yeah, you can make this game extremely difficult if you are so inclined to do so. We are not going to do that because we're recording, and while it can be amusing to see me suffer and rage, it's probably not the best gameplay footage and probably not the best episodes. So we're going to go with normal hard, none of these other options. We're just going to call it a day. As I said, this loading screen is very long, so I will see you... Oh, okay. I guess because I already started the game once. It's just run through really quick.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
'Cause I'm a badass. No. Alright, so I'm gonna play a chick because I always play a chick. I'm gonna go with this one because this is the smallest body type. You could be like a fucking giant, or we could be like a really tough person, or we could be a little more slender, a little more sleek individual. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm going to go with this face. We're going to go with that hair. I'm gonna stick on that. We want female noble. I'm going to go with... all these are all tattoos, by the way, that give you a variety of different effects. Some of them are on the face, some of them are on arms, some of them are on legs. It just kind of varies. You get a variety of things. I'm going to go with the tree, because I think it looks pretty cool. And green and black, because those are my colors. There is quite a few different portraits that are available for male and female. I do like the fact that there's a bunch of them. And I do also like the fact that there is, in fact, you know, different races to go with the different skin colors in amongst the pictures here, which is cool. That's good. I'm going to go with this one because I like it, and I think it looks the best for what our character is going to be. Now, today you're a Today, you are a Fatebinder, agent of the Archon of Justice. You are by no means free, but as a warrior scholar deputized with discretionary powers to interpret and execute the laws of the Overlord Kairos, you are freer than most. One does not apply to be a Fatebinder, one is called by Tunon, the Archon of Justice, and to decline is death. Millions of men and women live in the dozens of realms ruled by the Overlord. How did you stand out from amongst the teeming mass of desperation and insignificance and gain the Archon's notice? Kairos, let's give a little bit of detail, some background. Why are you giving me problems, game? There we go. As a name out of legend, for centuries the Overlord has consolidated power, sending vast armies to swallow entire realms. The most powerful mystic the world has ever seen, Kairos can issue edicts. Magical proclamations that level cities, spread the pox, sunder the lands, or change the course of seasons. The Archons, the masters of magic throughout the known world, all bow to Kairos, and the Overlord readily destroys any who are unwilling to kneel. These sorceresses and madmen lead the Overlord's armies in near-endless conquest. I love how it's sorceresses, so female, and madmen. So apparently all the dudes are just insane. Yeah. As the realms of the known world fall to the Overlord, these captured territories are divvied up among the Archons to manage. Able to deliver suffering and woe to every corner of Tyranny without leaving the capital, few have seen the Overlord in person. Though Kairos' name is the single most recognized name in the world, only the Archons can say what the Overlord actually looks like. And then there's Tunon, is the Archon of Justice, ruler of the conquered realms and arbiter of disputes. Oldest of the Archons sent to conquer the Tiers, which is where we are going to be. Tunon speaks with Kairos' authority. His true appearance remains hidden behind an iron mask, the face of judgment. Tunon is an impartial, sober creature, wholly obsessed with justice and order. Though soon to be a powerful combatant, Tunon rarely strays from his throne room, and entrusts his court of Fatebinders to act as his eyes and ears, as well as his judges, juries, and executioners. And we are one of them. So this is a question of how did we join his army? There's a number of different options here. You were a pit fighter. Only a few pit fighters were ever freed. You happen to be one of them. You were a soldier. You were taken as a kid. Your parents basically sold you into the army because they couldn't pay their taxes, essentially. and you might have went into the disfavored. I will actually won't necessarily read all of this, but the disfavored, of course, we saw in the cutscene there, are the elite soldiers. You were kind of assumed you were going to go into that, but Tunon saw you basically and liked you, thought you were pretty good, and pulled you into his group instead. You were a hunter. Your village was destroyed by agents of the Overlord. A tribe. Now, based on what some of the stuff says here, I'm assuming the Bounding Vipers were not human, because there's one point they came and found them, and they found a human amongst the wild tribes, so they made a point of taking you alive. Which tells me that whoever the hell the Bounding Vipers were, these wild beastmen, they were clearly not actually human. But you were a hunter, and you went into their group, and you were taken back. And you seemed to be interesting, so he took you in there. You were a lawbreaker. You stood before Tunon. You were judged, found guilty, and basically given a choice of join or serve it, your sentence in prison. So you were like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. War mage. You were trained as a war mage. It's, warrior mage. You were trained to cast magic in war. And you were really good, and basically Tunon brought you into his group. Guild Apprentice, kind of similar, but you were more of an intellectual, and the Voices of Nerat is that other, the one Archon who's in charge of the other group, not the disfavored, but the Scarlet Chorus. That's that little bit more random collection of forces. This is actually potentially interesting, so I will read his. Known in his official capacity as the Archon of Secrets, the Voices of Nerat is equal parts genius and madman. Rumors abound that he can steal the minds of others, though few, if any, are alive to confirm as such. The subjects of his interrogation are never heard from again, and the Archon is able to recall the memories of his victims with startling accuracy. He is the inconsistent leader of the Scarlet Chorus, facilitating between commanding from the vanguard and directing his armies in absentia. Despite his strange methods, no one doubts that he is an accomplished strategist, even suggesting that his madness stems from thinking hundreds, perhaps thousands of steps ahead of his enemies. So, the guild was broken apart and basically assigned as war mages instead. But Tunon claimed you because he thought you were particularly interesting. A diplomat, your family was given great wealth and power by Kairos for who the hell knows why. You were sent to train elsewhere, and essentially, a careless word in a far-flung city landed you in legal trouble. You were taken to Tunon to stand trial. Not only did you plead your innocence, but you turned the accusations around on the accuser for wasting the court's time, and the Archon of Justice concurred. Amused by your wit, wisdom, and adaptability, he claimed you as his newest enforcer. I kind of like that one, but we're gonna go with this one, because it's hilarious. So you were born to noble parents, you were groomed for leadership, your youth spent on letters, history, rhetoric, and other matters of culture and statecraft. Though you had wealth and creature comforts, you were expected to grow up quickly and bear the honor of shepherding others through prosperity and war. When your parents came under accusation of sedition, you were sent to the court of Tunon, Archon of Justice, to defend your family's actions. Your parents were found guilty. Their sentence, the dissolution of the treasonous estate. Eloquently pleading your own ignorance on your family's actions, you negotiated your most important deal yet. Immunity from the crimes of your family for the simple cost of swearing fealty to the Archon himself. Despite the unwilling induction, your education and savvy made you a valuable addition to the Archon's cadre of enforcers. And so long as you remain in good standing, your family just might be allowed to live. So, I like this one because it's like, oh, your family, you were there to defend your family. Well, they were found guilty, so I didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. Alright, sure. I just like that one. Now, this doesn't do anything to your stats. This doesn't affect your stats. This doesn't affect your skills. This doesn't affect anything. What it does affect is how certain people and certain groups, certain organizations will view you when you meet them. Being a noble scion here, we come across some nobles, and maybe they'll treat us better because we're a fellow noble. Maybe they won't. Maybe we'll run across people who don't like nobles, and they'll just automatically dislike us or distrust us because we are noble. Same thing if you're the lawbreaker, you're there as, one of his law people, but certain individuals might be like, well, you were a criminal once upon a time, so why should we trust you? Similarly, if you're dealing with criminals, they might kind of think of you as a kindred soul, and maybe they can use their common ground with you as a means to get somewhere with you. Or not. That kind of thing. We're going to go with this, though. Now, this is actually important. This is what kind of weapons you're using. Sword and board, javelin, which is essentially is a spear, but you can also throw it. Greatsword, dual-wielding, short bow, unarmed attacks, and then the 4 different types of magic. Shock spells, frost spells, vigor, and atrophy. Shock is, skilled in shock magic can frequently interrupt their enemies, preventing them from executing their attacks. It's more of a combat magic. This, shock and frost are basically the 2 combat ones. But you have things that'll stun, I'm assuming. Whereas frost will slow enemies in addition, of course, to doing damage. Vigor is more of a buffing for you and your party type thing. And then atrophy is debuffs, the opposite. Debuffing the enemy. But we are going to go... I've heard that magic, while can be really powerful, is fairly difficult to actually play in this, because you essentially don't get access to a lot of the really powerful spells until very late game. And in fact, some of the things that you are the best stuff in the game, you pretty much don't get until the very end. So I'm not going to do magic, as cool as that would be. Instead, we're going to go with dual wielding, because I always like dual wielding characters. It's cool. Once you select a thing, you have 2 different with the exception of magic, you have 2 different skills that you can start with. In our case, it would be Flurry of Blows, just extra attacks, or Slice, which adds a bleeding effect. We're going to go with that, because I think that sounds pretty cool. And our secondary expertise, which doesn't give you anywhere near as many points, but does give you, a second thing that you can do. I like that you can go dual wielding again, because it gives you a separate set of weapons that do a little different stuff. And gives us, of course, the other ability, but also gives us really good stats in those things. But we're going to go with short bow, because I would like to have a ranged ability as well. Now we have Heart Shot, which is, again, a bleeding effect, or a slow, essentially. Slows them down, hobbles them, hurts, reduces their speed, their movement speed. We're going to go with that, because we can slow them down, get a few more hits in, and then we can switch over to dual wielding and kick their face in. Pretty much is how that's going to go. Now I'm going to go with black and green, again, basically my colors. And then I'm going to go with this, and we want black and the lighter green, just because that shows up a little bit better on the flag. My character's name shall be... I was going to go with Marie, but I think actually we will do Lamerol this time. Okay, so our actual attributes. We have 8 points to assign. Everything starts at 10. We're going to go, and I think you can also reduce if you really feel like it. We're going to raise Vitality, because that increases our health. Fairly important, because we do intend to be primarily focused on melee class. So I'm actually surprised that it doesn't consider that to be a important thing for us to have. We're not a tank, we're a DPS person, but we still need to be able to survive getting hit in the face a few times. Finesse is very important. This is the accuracy of attacks and spells, and armor's chance to reduce damage. So we do want that. That does actually give us the majority of our defense. Then quickness is for dual wielding. Lets us attack faster. And then might. I actually don't know. This is apparently a skill that you want for short bow, but I don't really know why that's the case. Unless it's so that you can, do draw back stronger bows? Maybe? Not really sure. It does give more damage to your attacks, though, and stronger abilities, which obviously that will still help us with our melee stuff as well. So, yeah, we're going to go with... Actually, I'm going to drop might just a little bit, and we're going to take an extra finesse. We can go with that. Now you have our actual weapon skills. We do want dual wielding to be about there. We want bows to be about 30. And athletics 30. Subterfuge is our ability to sneak, essentially. Go into stealth, more or less. Our ability to open pick locks, do traps, and our ability to deceive or trick a person that we're speaking to. Primarily because of that, I want that to be raised pretty good. And then we will put a couple extra points into parry so we can actually do some of that. Okay, now this is cool. This is the part that actually I really like about the character creation. You can quick start, where to just kind of give you a basic set of things. Or you could go through the Conquest, which is actually, you were basically there as the armies and everything came in, and you had an effect on how the place was conquered, and the things that happened when it was conquered. So we're going to do that, because it provides the greatest control, and the greatest role-playing capabilities.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tears, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign.
Not for long.
2 armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior.
Do make note of that. The Northern Empire fell a century ago. It took them 100 years, more or less, to finish that and move on the next group, which is the Tears. Kairos has been doing this for, I think they said 400 years earlier? This is one person, mind you. 400 years. Person's really long-lived. I want to make sure you guys noticed that.
In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tearsmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tears sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Well, that's a good way to just die. See, the mountainous border that you believed unassailable, it might have been, if you hadn't all been incompetent and unable to work together. But apparently, you are incompetent and you can't work together. Yes. Alright, so during the Conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tears, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tears respond to you. Your decisions do matter, so choose wisely. 428 TR, Year 1 of Kairos' invasion. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tears. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tears, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' army. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the tiers. Kairos' will is insurmountable. So the Bastard City, getting a little bit more information about it, which we already, for the most part, saw. So, in fact, I think that's actually the same thing. For the most part. Citizens of the South view the Bastard City as a place of wealth and excess, but to the people of the Northern Empire, it's little more than a sprawling slum. Tunon the Adjudicator established his court in the Bastard City. From this foothold in the tiers, he and his court of Fatebinders imposed Kairos' law upon the conquered land. That's what ends up happening. Obviously, we're talking about before that happened. So, we have two different things that we can look at. The Gates of Judgment, which was the first major engagement, or infiltrate. Both armies sent their forces to prepare the way. You only get to choose one of these, by the way, and then there's multiple choices within these choices here. So we can either infiltrate and decide how we go through it. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of Conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and the Scarlet Corps each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which one did you join? So if you do the Disfavored Scouts, they went to capture a border garrison. Graven Ash insisted that an early victory in this offensive would boost the morale of the troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. Or, you join the Scarlet Chorus as they raided villages and small towns, conscripting every able-bodied man and woman into the army. The voices of Nerat emphasized the rewards of conscription and enslavement over wanton bloodshed. Apparently the soldiers needed the reminder. Oh, yeah, probably. Considering what we end up learning about them, which we'll see soon enough. Or, we can do the actual battle itself. Kairos took the battle to the Gates of Judgment, trumpeting the opening call of the Conquest. The two armies brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited your strength. Standing shield to shield with Kairos' ironclad elite, you advanced to the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the Bastard City. The Legion wanted to send a message to the tiers that superior breeding and disciplined training would win the day, so you basically take part in an outright battle, or you rushed with the chaotic mess of the Scarlet Chorus flanking the Bastard City's army and drove them to flee. So, basically we go with more chaos, or we go with order. Or we can do one of these things, which again is still more chaos because you're raiding small towns and like civilians essentially, or you're attacking a military target with the Disfavored. You start to see the differences between the two of them. We're going to go with the actual battle though, and we're going to go with the Disfavored. So the Bastard City learned too late that the military is earned and never bought. The mercenary army quickly found themselves outclassed by the superior tactics and the formation of the Disfavored. Those few who lived to the end of the battle were rounded up, the weak executed, and the strong enslaved to haul the army's wagons in the journey south. This is another difference that you will see later on that I don't know if it's going to discuss here immediately. But the Disfavored are all about, like, when they defeat opponents or whatever, they enslave people. They get them to do their dirty work for them, you know, the hauling supplies, or doing mining, or whatever it is that they need done that they don't want to be doing themselves. The Scarlet Chorus, on the other hand, will forcibly conscript you into their force, into their army. You actually become a soldier if you lose. They don't really enslave, well, kind of enslave you, but you get a little bit more freedom because you're a fellow soldier. This is how all of the Scarlet Chorus join their group. But yeah, we're going to go with Gates of Judgment. So see, both of those are gone now. Now we have two more choices. To judge the enemy. The soldiers of the tiers fell by the hundreds, and Kairos' armies could not agree on how to handle what few survivors they dragged back to camp. Befitting your role, the commanders turned to you to decide the fate of those who occupied the prison pens. There were only enough prisoners to support the plan of a single army. So, enslave them from the disfavored. Needed slaves to haul their gear, dig latrines, and keep their pallets warm at night. So, yeah, the men would be hauling their gear and digging latrines, and the women would be their prostitutes, essentially. You consign the survivors of battle to the subservient role among Graven Ash's noble troops. Or, you go with the Scarlet Chorus, which you give them a chance to serve in the army, or they die. They were in need of extra troops to fill up the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy those slots nicely. Or, you go with this one. Against the most optimistic projections, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus made short work of the local defenses. They did so well that the armies quickly outpaced the supply caravans. Troops were plentiful, but food was scarce. You only had time to execute one plan to secure provisions. Now, another thing to note, as far as I'm aware, both of these events do happen, but it kind of randomly decides the other one because you weren't specifically involved in it. I don't think it's random. It probably picks one particular thing, but maybe it is random. I don't know. But I'm assuming both of these events actually do happen. They just happen. You don't have any say in how it happens. So we can go with the disfavored. They wanted to confiscate food and supplies from traveling merchant caravans. The Tears had already spent ignorant centuries glibing themselves outside of Kairos' law, or you go with the Scarlet Chorus, where they pillage and rape and whatever the hell they want from farms and villages. So again, they go after the merchants, the people who have the food and supplies that they're shipping between places. Or the Scarlet Chorus goes and raids the people who grow the food and probably kills them. And, rapes them and pillages them and does whatever the hell they want to them. Again, so you have a little bit more in the way of order and just, more chaos. I think this is a little more difficult because I kind of want to go with the conscripting or with the disfavored for doing this one. But I also don't want to completely go with just one faction. Yeah, let me show you a little bit about the groups. Scarlet Chorus is a gang of thugs and their captive slaves, essentially. Rather than organized under commissioned officers, they follow a hierarchy seemingly ruled by whoever has the bravado to command and defend their position. The head of this chaotic pecking order, the Archon of Secrets, better known as the Voices of Nearat, treats the Scarlet Chorus as his personal army. They often suffer tremendous losses after battle, only to swell in the aftermath when the captured enemies and collateral prisoners are given the cruel opportunity to join or to die. Well, you have the disfavored, the battle-hardened elite. They are the spearhead of the conquests, and they find themselves outnumbered but never outclassed. Committed to imposing their interpretation of order upon the relative lawlessness of the Tears, the Legion only tolerates Northerners in their ranks, priding themselves in their high standards and cultural purity, so they don't allow other groups in. So yeah. Yeah, we're going to go with feeding the host, and we're going to go with the disfavored option. Yeah. After raiding the wagons of unsuspecting caravans and securing days' worth of provisions and supplies, the disfavored found a cache of goods behind a hidden panel. They confiscated potions and elixirs bound for secret contacts within the bastard city. The hall filled the disfavored larder with provisions for the following year and denied the defenders of the city supplies that would be desperately needed in the siege to come. So, the armies of Kairos amassed around the bastard city, the first bastion of the Tears to fall. Both armies longed to storm the walled outpost, Scarlet Chorus howling for plunder, and the disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Your prowess in the field of battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Which of the armies had... both of them had inspired kings to take the city. Which did you support? So, you could do a little bit of a combination one that's this kind of, this one. You let a mixed band, and this actually is important now because this actually gives us abilities. The sabotage, the group here, you go over the walls to sabotage the defenses, gives you a 1 per encounter, concealing shadows. Cloud of obscuring shadows and dust for short duration. Enemies that use physical attacks against you have a significantly increased chance to miss. During this time, your attacks will also be less effective. Okay. So it is a... I don't know, because it's your attacks will also be less effective. I don't know how I feel about that. Now, this could be useful if you were, like, you have a bunch of hurt people. You could spend the time to heal and, you know, maybe even fall back a little bit to, like, regroup. It could be useful. You have the Scarlet Chorus is setting fires to the city and blockading the gates. The defenders would surrender or they would burn. So this gives you a Searing Palm, which I believe is a spell? Yeah, so it gives us fire damage versus magic. Mage Fire Affliction. What is that? Explicitly bundled status effects that could be applied to suspended or fully removed from the character. Okay. So I don't know what that means. Oh, cause burn damage over time. So it basically lights them on fire. So you get a fire ability, or stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time, you will regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. So it gives us a heal over time and like super tanking ability. Not really great for us because that's not really the kind of character we're going for. This is also not super great for us because, again, we're more of a DPS character. So I think we're going to go with this one because this gives us a attack ability, basically. Even though we're not a mage, even so. It's also a ranged ability. We do have ranged capabilities, so... Oh, no, actually, it is... No, it's short range. Never mind. It's only 2 meters. It's only 2 meters. This is the one problem here, though, is that attack skills require control fire and lore. The lore skill here is actually the part that really limits your ability to do spells and stuff. Because this is where, like, you have lore requirements to be able to cast spells and things. And this is what you don't have, essentially, until you get pretty far into the game at a sufficient level to really be able to do anything with it. I don't know, maybe we should go with... Alright, we'll go with the Disfavored, I guess, again. With heroic courage and legendary determination, the Disfavored battered the gates of the bastard city to splinters. Those who fell under the consistent hail of arrows or cascades of boiling pitch left the battlefield temporarily, only to appear hours later as Archon Graven Ash's protection healed their numerous wounds. In time, the gates gave way, and Kyros's forces spilled inside the city walls with resounding cheers of victory. Graven Ash, of course, is the leader of their group. The last of the great northern generals to stand against the Overlord in ages past, Archon Graven Ash now serves as the supreme commander of the Disfavored Legion and is charged with conquering the Tears. This hero is a powerful bond with the soldiers under his command and regards each of them as family. The death of a soldier at enemy hands represents a grievous loss to the old general, who bears the burden of his love with mournful stoicism. Thus the reason why he would go to great lengths to protect them and heal them and whatnot. Alright, so the city fell, ultimately. Settled in a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kyrus' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kyrus' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor, with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. So we could look at Apex, which is the troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding the time as their neighbors in the bastard tier fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the tier's central valley. Or we become a administrator, essentially. Deposits of iron made the settlement of Lethian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Cairo sent the forge-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Tunon the Adjudicator sent one of his fate binders to ensure the enforcement of the law. So, we could do that one, or we can go proceed into battle. And I think we're going to go with the battle option, because our character is more of a warrior. Admittedly, we are a noble, so maybe the Lethian's Crossing thing would be more our style. Nah, I'm gonna go with Apex. I think the continuing with the battle thing, I think, is more my style. Even though being the administrator might be a little bit more the style of our character. But, The mountain nation of Apex, ruled for generations by the queens of House Vendrian, stood at the heart of the tiers. No army could bypass the landlocked realm without leaving their flank exposed to attack. By the second year of the war, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus had pushed deep into the tiers. Elements of both armies were dispatched to conquer Apex, and Tunon assigned us to accompany them, tasked with bringing Kyrus' law to the territory as well as keeping an eye on both of the armies. Okay, and I think we're better off going a fair bit with the Scarlet Chorus this time, because we went almost exclusively with the disfavored in the assaulting the Bastard City. Battle of Edgerine Pass. The Archon of Stone's assault was perhaps too successful, or a new school of mages presented problems and opportunities. School of mages loyal to the Tiersmen posed a substantial threat. Disfavored wished to annihilate the school, while the Scarlet Chorus insisted on capturing the mages, wishing to learn of their craft. Oh, I'd definitely be down for that. Yeah, so slaughtering them, probably not a good idea. I'd like capturing them. Or, the disfavored sent their most destructive ally to crush Edgerine Fort. Karn, Archon of Stone, buried the stronghold under an avalanche triggered from the surrounding mountains. The Scarlet Chorus were promised captured enemies for recruitment, yet none survived the onslaught. The Chorus demanded compensation. Congratulate the disfavored for taking the pass without risking the lives of Kyrus' loyal servants. At this stage of the campaign, it was vital to use any advantage that would mitigate any ally losses. Or, you upheld their claim and demanded the youngest disfavored scouts join the Chorus to settle the debt. Ooh, that sounds really fucking dangerous, because that's going to piss off the disfavored a lot. Not only with us, but also with the Scarlet Chorus. Make the disfavored mad at the Scarlet Chorus. Although, this would make the Scarlet Chorus mad at the disfavored, so, Honestly, this one sounds like it could be potentially kind of dangerous to us. So we're going to go with this one, and we're going to capture the mages, because I really like the sound of that one. I see no reason to kill them when we could capture them and potentially gain something out of it for the Empire. So we're going to go with that. Though countless lives were lost taking the mages into custody, the Scarlet Chorus praised your name as they dragged the beaten elders of the school to the voices of Nerat's tent. As a wave of screams and incoherent pleas reached their crescendo, the Scarlet Chorus soldiers outside cheered for their Archon. The disfavored adjourned to their camp in grim silence, claiming the Chorus lacked the will and desire to fully wipe out all traces of the enemy school. you might be right there, because some of them might have escaped, some of them might still be alive, but at the same time, we might have gained some stuff out of it. Alright, so we've got a captive captain. Kairos' forces captured a celebrated enemy hero. The enemies bickered over his fate. The disfavored wanted him set free to convince his peers of Kairos' mercy, and the Scarlet Chorus wanted him flayed and staked as an example. Ooh. See, I would go with setting him free. So I would actually side with the disfavored here. Send the enemy captain back with a message. All those who surrendered or cooperated would be treated with the deserving respect as subjects of Kairos' peace. Or you capture him, execute him, and put him out in a terrifying display. No, don't like that one. Poison in the well. Hoping to break the siege, Scarlet Chorus agents poisoned the Apex water to supply in secret. Days later, uninformed disfavored scouts died of illness. Outraged by the failure of communication, the disfavored demanded that the Chorus agents be turned over to them for punishment. You upheld the charges, ordering the Scarlet Chorus agents delivered to the disfavored. Justice would be served, but at the risk of seeding discontent between the two armies. Ooh. That may not be a good idea. You denied the complaint. Tragedies happen in war, and the act was not targeted with intent of the disfavored. The reality was more dishonest than the dissatisfaction the disfavored still wanted. This might be... not be a... no. I think I'm gonna go with this one, because that one sounds potentially dangerous, and this one sounds like it's a little less risky to us. So we're gonna go with that. Shocked by your clemency, the enemy captain vowed to deliver his message in full and paid his respects before departing for his encampment. Though typically more uncompromising, the disfavored praised your innovative thinking, and the Scarlet Chorus despised what they viewed as resources wasted only to release a known enemy back into the wild. That's not an unreasonable belief, because, you know, this guy is an enemy hero, he's probably a badass in fighting, he probably cost us a lot of soldiers and stuff to capture him, and we're just releasing him again, so, I can see where they might be mad about that. So the fall of Apex. With the defeat of Apex and an inevitability, the armies of Kairos met to discuss how to put an end to this stage of the conquest. Both armies agreed to send an offer of parley. Along with their acceptance, the enemy requested that you appear at the meeting. Word of your fair dealings had apparently spread to their ranks. How did you orchestrate the surrender of the realm of Apex? So we negotiate a surrender, putting an end to further bloodshed, or taunting the Queen of Apex into striking you under a banner of truce. You baited the Queen of Apex into a duel and slew her, frightening her vassals into submission. Ooh, I kind of like that one. That sounds pretty badass. But we're noble. We're going to be more of a negotiator. So we're going to go with mediation. Your former enemies were loath to part with their lands, but they were even more reluctant to continue a war they were losing at every turn. The Tearsmen are a stubborn lot, and despite their grim situation, it still took days of discussion and diplomacy to show them the madness of tenacity. On the third day of mediation, the rulers of Apex finally submitted to your term of surrender, putting an end to the war in the valley and freeing up Kairos' forces to march deeper into the Tears. And down went the city. I like how the cities, fall apart a little bit and get damaged as things happen. So with the land of Apex finally rested in the hands of Kairos' forces, the Scarlet Chorus paused to revel in victory, while the disfavored prepared for the next fight, affording themselves but an evening's rest. Kairos' armies radiated out to the conquered citadel and worked their way across the tiers. The disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus aimed to dominate as much territory as possible. Your distinguished reputation in Kairos' military left the choice of your next destination yours to make. You can, of course, only choose one. Kairos dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Or we go to, with its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. Or The Vellum Citadel. Conquering gaze fell upon the Vellum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, and its secrets. Ooh. I don't know about Azure. Not a huge fan of that one. That sounds less interesting. This being the most formidable realm sounds like a good place for us to go. But this one also sounds like a good one to go. Treasures, knowledge, and secrets. That's a real toss-up here, because I don't know which... Like, it hasn't really provided us much information about either of these options. I think we'll go with the Citadel, actually. Being a noble, we're more interested in the knowledge and secrets and wealth and stuff. So it was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by the other major realms. Legends say that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield. Peaceful surrender turned bloody. A detachment of Kyrus' army marched on the Vellum Citadel expecting an orderly surrender. As they neared the main gates, a blast of arcane energy struck the commanders dead. Suddenly, the highest-ranking officer alive, Kyrus' forces suddenly looked to you for the next steps. The call weighed in your mind as it had an immediate influence on soldiers' losses. Order the Scarlet Chorus to attack. The expendable Scarlet Chorus commanding the disorderly mob forward to give the elite disfavored a chance to withdraw. Though a costly maneuver in terms of lives lost, this assured the survival of the most capable and effective soldiers. Or, have the disfavored go in, knowing that a handful of Kyrus' elite soldiers could hold off the attack until the Scarlet Chorus retreated. You knew this disfavored to despise you for any losses at the Scarlet Chorus' expense, but that was a small price to pay for saving lives. Or, Cyrene, Archon of Son, used her power to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the Citadel walls. After Kyrus' forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share their dangerous knowledge, crime under Kyrus' law, with the Scarlet Chorus. So yeah, muzzle the mages, you calm the disfavored with a compromise. The sages' mouths will be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. Or, you punish the disfavored by executing mages bound to the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given to the Archon of Son as their personal bodyguards. Well, apparently this is a crime, so this is apparently a crime under Kyrus' law for them to share their dangerous knowledge. So... Oh wait, this is badly phrased, I think, because what's the crime? Them executing them? Or the captives sharing their dangerous knowledge? Which part is the crime? I don't know. Let's actually go with this one and go with the disfavored here, because the disfavored are the elite troops. They should be the ones preserved. The Scarlet Chorus are... Hell, the Scarlet Chorus itself treats their own people as cannon fodder, so... they can't really be that pissed off when we do the same damn thing. So... Ever itching for a fight, the howling mob still recognize the maneuver as the sacrificial move that it was. Those in the Scarlet Chorus who ran headlong into battle made promises of a reckoning upon their return. Thankfully for you, hardly one of them limped back in one piece. Those few who survived made fevered whispers of their grievances, naming you as a villain to the Scarlet Chorus. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. Intercepted intelligence resulted in a lost disfavored patrol, or a dispute over contraband turned violent. Disfavored learned of a hidden enemy enclave and sent scouts to locate it. They never returned. The remaining disfavored soldiers demanded that you send the Scarlet Chorus to retrieve their scouts, but the Scarlet Chorus flatly refused to fall into the same trap. They recommended the scouts be treated as wartime casualties. See, I would agree with them. You consign the disfavored scouts to their fate. If the elite of Kairos' army could not return on their own, there was no sense in wasting the lives of the Scarlet Chorus to find them. Yeah, I would definitely go with that one. But let's see what the other one is. The army captured a supply caravan overflowing with arcane books. When the disfavored started the bonfire of forbidden texts, Scarlet Chorus rescued the tomes from the flames and attacked. Holy crap. In accordance with the disfavored wishes, you upheld Kairos' law regarding forbidden lore and had all the texts burned. You decreed the disfavored are welcome to burn their half of the plunder, but the Scarlet Chorus has rightful claim to the other half, provided you first review the text first to eliminate any that touched on forbidden knowledge. I mean, if these things are all forbidden... Again, we're supposed to be an adjudicator. We're supposed to be the ones upholding the law. And the way that this empire is set up, I feel like disobeying the law is really dangerous. Same time, I don't really want to piss the Scarlet Chorus off any more than we already have. This is really going to piss off the disfavored, though. Alright, so we're still trying to prevent forbidden knowledge from getting to them, so we're still kind of following the law, but we're letting them keep anything that we deem as acceptable. So we'll go with this. They agreed to your generous terms, and he set to poring over every manuscript before it was handed over. The work took several evenings, and you came away with a glimpse of truths better left unknown. Taking the burden upon yourself was a less risky alternative than disseminated among the Kairos' ranks, though it didn't help you sleep at night. The Edict of Fire. Food and morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire upon the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it, the words of a powerful spell enough to destroy the Velum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. Give them no warning. Claim the edict to fire at the first moment of dawn, granting the enemy no warning of the destruction to come. Though the chorus insisted your actions doomed their spies, the disfavored applauded your decision. Or, claiming that they still had spies in the Citadel, they urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace and warned them of the doom, giving the chorus spies, and the enemy, a chance to run. See, I would be inclined to do that because it's the nicer thing to do. But at the same time, we're not supposed to be we're supposed to be the bad guys here. We're not the good guys. We don't give them a chance to run. Let's go with this. You read the edict as the new sun rose behind the Citadel, casting a long shadow in its wake. You were the last person to see the Hall of Knowledge that moment before the devastation. The earth shook, and red-orange light glowed in the foundations of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force, gushing from the windows and between loose bricks, melting hostile trenches in the surrounding land. The mages awoke to smoke and fire. For most, it was already too late. Only a handful of bewildered mages escaped the smoldering collapse of the massive library fortress. Kairos' will be done. Kaboom. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of the Velum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the one noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as you journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno of the last gasps of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. And so we were called back. Conquest is complete. We could erase our progress and replay to try out some different things if we were so inclined to do so. But I think we're going to stick with this. If I wasn't recording, I might go through it again just so I could see what some of the other options were, but see what some of the other locations were in particular. But as it stands, we're going to go with it because we're recording. This is probably going to be a long loading screen. So, yeah. We're basically at the end of the episode anyway, but I do want to wait until this finishes, because I don't know if I'll be able to...
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands.
Yeah, that's what you get.
But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault.
Rebels. Take them out.
With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers.
So recently conquered too, so that it's a free people that are still potentially, willing to fight to be free. That's not that they've been, oppressed and restrained for decades or centuries or whatever. That it'd be a lot harder for them to rebel.
The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die.
Damn.
Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you.
Damn.
Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons.
Oh, so we've been given the edict, and the edict is capable of killing everybody there. So we have the opportunity any time that we see fit, essentially, to just blow up the entire valley.
As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you.
Oh, apparently including ourselves.
You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Oh, good. And thus the game actually starts. Alright, so we're going to save the game right here, even though it actually did just make a save, but I'm going to make an actual save. And we're going to end the episode, so I will see you folks in the next time when we will be starting into the actual game itself. So thanks you for watching. Like and subscribe, of course, especially because this is the first episode of a series, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.